Hello everybody, in this video we'll be going over the Squad version 2.0 update slated for release mid-December. In this update we'll be receiving new British and Insurgent vehicles, a new overhauled flight model, overhauled graphic settings, new Insurgent small arms, and new British and Russian hat kits, among many other things. I'll also show you how you can get in on the action before its official release, so sit back and enjoy. First up, we're going to discuss the new Insurgent vehicles, as well as what looks like a new mortar pit. As you can see in this picture, the new Insurgent vehicles seem to be modeled off Nissan. Of the pictured, one of them is an anti-air gun, while the other is a mortar truck. This will be interesting to see, as early well-placed mortar suppression can offer a new game dynamic, especially if that one random blueberry on the back cap finds themselves in the line of fire. Both of these trucks appear to have little in the way of armor, so we can expect a well-placed lat round to do the job in disabling these vehicles. Additionally, we see a reclaimed armored Humvee painted in black, with an open top that has what appears to be a .50 caliber machine gun, sporting bulletproof glass, an armored rear wheel half skirt, and additional front radiator armor. Lastly, what I find most interesting is this new larger mortar pit, possibly 120mm or greater. It will be interesting to see the ammo cost per round. As normal mortars offer 3 rounds per reload, this seems to offer only 1. Not pictured, which will be included in the modern technicals, is the new modern Dishka truck, the UB-32 rocket truck, an SPG truck, a Logi, and a transport truck. Great Britain will also be receiving new vehicles. Pictured is the FV-107 Recon vehicle. This is going to be a new class. This is light, fast, and armored, similar to the Russian BDRM-2 scout car, but has more armor and firepower. Additionally, Great Britain will receive the AL PPV armored Jeep, also known as the Ocelot. This is a highly mobile light tac vehicle. Similar to the MATV and Tiger, it will come in 2 versions, a remotely operated turret and a dual LMG open turret. Great Britain will also be receiving the iconic SA-330 transport helicopter. This is great, now they don't have to borrow the Black Hawk from the Americans. Next, we're going to talk about the Russian-made Mosin Nagant rifle. This is a bolt-action rifle that is chambered in 7.62 by 54R. This is not necessarily a precision rifle, but is still fairly accurate. In this screenshot provided by OWI, we see the scope variation to the left and the iron sight variation to the right. The iron sight variation will come in 2 models, a carbine and a full length. They can also be reloaded via single shells or stripper clip. Insurgents will also be receiving a new RPD light machine gun. Russia and Great Britain will also be receiving new heavy anti-tank weapons. Russia will receive the RPG-28. This is a disposable anti-tank rocket with a 125mm warhead, capable of being ranged out to 500 meters, whereas Great Britain will receive a smart anti-tank rocket called the NLAW, not to be confused with your in-laws. This modern semi-smart fire and frigate anti-tank rocket warhead uses predicted line of sight. You can switch between a direct attack mode and a predicted line of sight mode by pressing X on your keyboard. In the predicted line of sight mode, you can track your mouse velocity for about 2 to 3 seconds, which will program the warhead. Once fired, the warhead will then follow that exact velocity you programmed. Great Britain will also be receiving a scope upgrade on their AL-85 rifle. Replacing the ACOG will be an Alcan LDS scope. Next, we're going to talk about helicopter handling improvements. Among the improvements is a tweak to the acceleration curve, as well as a larger range of angles and smoother transitions. This will allow for even more spicy landings, and you could definitely expect to see those. There will also be adjustments to the rotor's angle of attack. This could further be controlled by pitching the aircraft up and down. I could see this adjusting speed and deceleration curves. OWI also aims to improve the weathervane effect, also known as the weather cocking effect. This will be most noticeable when hovering close to the ground while possibly resupplying FOBs, or while touching the ground during troop transports. This phenomenon typically causes an aircraft's heavier end to point towards the wind. Think of a weather vane mounted on a house, for example. For us, this will mean more nose first touchdowns and less of that weird seesawing we're used to. We should also see higher survivability when crash landing while the engines are disabled. Refund mechanics will also be implemented. This is a welcoming change, as badly placed habs and encampments will no longer have such a bad impact on supplies if corrected. Refunds for deployables will be 80%. It will also be possible to receive ammo refunds when switching between classes at an ammo crate or vehicle. This refund will not apply to partially spent weapons or magazines. Up next is the new graphics menu overhaul. This is intended to allow players to have greater control of how their game looks and performs, while also allowing players who play on low settings to force enable shadows, whereas before low settings didn't offer shadows. In this overhaul, we see differences in control of upscaling, a frames per second cap, greater control of anti-aliasing, which removes jagged edges, particles, custom shadow resolutions, as well as color correction options such as brightness, contrast, and saturation to get your game looking just how you want it to. You could try these graphics settings before the official release by opening Steam on your desktop, navigating to Squad and opening the properties, selecting the Betas tab, and selecting Squad Experimental in the drop-down menu. There will also be an update to various behind-the-scenes mechanics such as optimized asset loading and memory usage. Loading screen should be reduced, and there's also admin tools for managing team kills, observing problem players, and new streamer support options, which we'll talk about next. You will now be able to hide server, squad, and player names, as well as disable server broadcast messages from appearing on your screen. This change will hopefully reduce the instances of inappropriate content appearing on your screen while streaming, as well as reduce the likelihood of stream sniping. Lastly, and one of the things I find most interesting, is the HAB spawn delay. There will now be a spawn delay for newly placed HABs. This delay period will have a UI indicator similar to the meta killing bar, in which spawning from the newly placed HAB is not possible. This is intended to incentivize planning and placing HABs, and to discourage mass spawning off newly placed HABs. If you want to try these changes out before its release, be sure to have Squad public testing installed on your Steam library. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you already haven't, for more future Squad content. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/whitewithducks. Also, if you want to play with me in Squad, be sure to join the AFO servers at discord.gg/AFO. You could also look for Noobs and Boobs, Arty and Party, or Ass and Brass on the Squad server browser list.